Hey guys, it's Taylor. Thank you for coming back and checking out the next video. Today I want to just go over blending skills. So blending is the key to all success in makeup, and it took me a while to really get that down, and I have a lot of questions about that. And again, I learn things every day. So if you all want to learn about makeup, just constantly try, and I will give you all the tips and pointers I have. So I do already have my eyebrows done. I'm going to do something very light and airy, but even with those type of looks, blending is still important. So first thing I'm going to grab is my eyeshadow base, and today I'm just using the NYX eyeshadow base that I mentioned before in the color Nude. I also have this in white. If I was doing something bright and colorful, I would use the white. But today I'm just going to keep it pretty neutral, light, smoky. So first I apply that with a concealer brush. And you can use your fingers to really get it into the skin. Now, as you can see, I have very small slanted almond shaped eyes. So my crease naturally is only about right here. We all have a natural crease, and you may hear a lot of people mention, you know, blending out in the crease, blah, blah, blah. So you can use your natural crease, or you can create a higher crease color, but you need a base to do all that with. So what is always suggested is to put a setting powder to basically make sure this doesn't crease naturally. You decide where your crease will be with the makeup. And also this helps with blending purposes, so it won't be blotchy, and it will be easier for the eyeshadow to blend evenly. So as you can see, this is very clear. It is the NYX HD finishing powder. So it is not of any color, and it's not even for, I don't use it for anywhere else on the face. That's not true. I do use it a couple times, but not for baking, not really for setting either. I'll go over what I use it for in a different video, so stay tuned. But basically, you're just going to set that base with this powder in order to have your eyeshadow, which is going to go on top of this powder, be able to blend easier. There are instances where I go back with the eyeshadow base. Say on my lid, I want something to really, really pop. Then I can always go back with this eyeshadow primer, base primer, and put it exactly where I want that pop to be, because wet eyeshadow, not drenched wet, but damp eyeshadow brushes, and even, you know, this primer being there can make things show up heavier. It's just that if we were to do that all over our eye, wherever we first set the initial powder brush, that's going to be more dense than anywhere else. So if I'm going for something very blended, I would have, you know, patches of very pigment and then non-pigment, and that's not what I want today. So you just really have to learn how to play with that and use it to your advantage. So first I'm going to go in with a base color, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to just do a something very light, because I don't want anything heavy today. So I'm going to go in with a blending brush, Morphe, my favorite palette, because I'm just doing something nude today. So I usually go in with a mixture of these two at the base. And I'm putting it in the crease where I want it to be, although I'm not going to do a something where the crease would matter too much, because I am going to do, you know, the deepest color on the base of my eye today. And you may not see this. It's not like something that is very pigmented. It almost matches my skin tone, because I just want it to blend out to very minimal. I sort of fan it out as well over here. Just depending on what I'm doing, I decide whether or not I want that aspect. That type of look today. And I'm not going too dark. Right now I'm just here. This blending brush is still a blending brush. It's just a little tighter and tapered, if you can see that. So it's still the same shape. It's just smaller for those smaller pieces of your eye that you want to get into. And they have some even tighter than this. The key to blending is always going back and erasing any hard lines that you create as you go. You don't want any hard lines unless you're doing like a cut crease and it's, you know, on purpose. Another key to eyeshadow that I really, it took a long time for me to learn is it is a lot of layering. If you want something to really pop but not, you know, do the base trick that I was talking about earlier, like for this I want it to look really smoky and really blended, so adding more base wouldn't accomplish that. That would just add pigment and it would sort of end up looking like a cut crease. That's not sort of what I'm going for. So when I just want something really, really smoked out, it's a lot of layering of the different depths of the color you want the most payoff on. So some colors are really deep, some are really rich, and I don't know if y'all saw that fallout, but that was a lot of fallout because I got caught up. So I am using the same color and I am just going back over it, and that's what I mean by layering. I will switch to a different color soon and go in the same area for another layer. So going back and forth, some people call it windshield wiper method, and I don't even know if I'm really doing it as properly as I should. Gotta get the fall off. But it's either circles back and forth or pat motion, and that's sort of packing it into the skin for more color payoff. And each time I notice I am getting a hard line, I just go back with the original brush with the lighter shade and I just fan it out. So I'm picking up a lot of color, and instead of getting that fall out on my face, I just tap it here into the pan. Now we do want some on the brush, but just not a crazy amount. And as you can see, I went into a deeper tone of the brown. And I'm fanning it out here still. And I have a hard line, so I go back and I sweep through. So now that I'm like on the base of my lid, I really want to pack in some color. So I am going to switch from a blending brush to more of a packing brush. This one is really small like my lid is. I do have a different size for if I'm making my lid appear larger. Okay, focus. So it's a small packing brush, grabs a lot of pigment, and you just pat it into your eye. So this is really just a cheap elf brush. Honestly, get it how you live, y'all. Use your resources. There are great tools out there that they may seem cheap, so you assume that they're not as good, but for something that I don't use like every day, I am perfectly fine using a good deal. I'm spraying this a little bit because it did not get a lot. Dampening your brush will help pick up, especially in those places you want to be really rich. And it looks like this color, like I haven't used this color yet in the palette, and so it's not the payoff I was looking for. It's falling out all on my face. For fallout, a brush like this is perfect. A long-haired brush that's really flexible with its bristles, so it can pick up that and sweep it off of your face. That is so important. I use this also to get the baking powder off of my face, but it helps with fallout too, so you don't rub it into your skin. And because I do have primer on my skin right now, so I can jump into face makeup right after this eyeshadow look. So it is getting some payoff now, and that's perfect because I didn't want it to be too heavy, but I just didn't expect it to have to take this many attempts. And there's a lot of fallout going on. Like I'm surprised, like no other color in this palette has done that to me. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's because I've had this palette for a while and I haven't used this color yet. I don't think that would have an issue, but so this would have been way easier if I did the primer trick I showed you or told you about, putting more primer in this one spot and then applying this. It would have picked up the pigment the first attempt. However, I would have to like really go back and blend out that hard line since I don't want to cut crease. So either way would have worked, and that probably would have been faster now that I'm seeing how long this is taking. But it really just ends up, you know, you have to go back and blend out what you put. So it is adding another step, but it possibly could have been faster than this. So you never know. Because it looks like I'm going to have to go back and blend this really good anyway. And now I'm using that small tapered brush to go back in instead of the large bristle blending brush. And then we'll go back with the large for up here. And then if I ever need to blend out up here, but I don't want color, I go back with what I used for the HD powder, the clear powder, and go right up under my brow. And then if you do like get too carried away with the color and it touches your brow, you can always go back with the concealer you shaped your brow with and add back that white space. Not literally white, guys. Please don't put white under your brows. I can't explain how many people I see do that, and This is a PSA announcement that it is not okay. It is not okay. So it is very light and it is just a brown smoky eye, but I wanted to focus on blending, and usually the lighter makeup is honestly harder to blend because you almost blend it away and it's almost like you can't even see it. So I'm wiping off the excess just so I don't get too much of a buildup going. And I'm gonna just recheck everything to make sure it's exactly the way I want it. So I'm using that taper brush to go in with that pigment, and I'm patting it in just like I was with the small packing brush. It won't say packing brush. I'm pretty sure it will just say eyeshadow brush, but anything that looks like that is good for packing. I sort of do want not too much of a matte, but I like an iridescent type of look, or metallic type of look. So I'm gonna look for one of my colors that matches this brownish payoff. Maybe add a little gray factor into it. And I'm just gonna use either my finger or a little sheen to play into that. So I'm using just some generic eyeshadow that has a little sheen to it, and I'm mixing it between the brown and the gray. And I'm using my finger because with your finger it just sort of grabs, and for this type of sheen I'm wanting, swiping it into the skin actually gives you a better payoff than a brush would. But in doing that, I did create a little line, so I'm gonna go back and sweep it through. As you can see, it's nothing intense. It's not like a glitter eye, but I just didn't want it to be completely matte either. All right, let's do our liner and our lashes. I'm gonna go ahead and get the glue on the lashes first, of course, to let this duo dry. I really want to try the lash glue by Huda Beauty. I feel like it would not be as annoying. Duo takes forever to dry, but it gets the job done and it's found everywhere, so it's really convenient. So I haven't strayed just yet. I'm gonna get my NYX liquid liner, and we're gonna get our liner done while we wait on the lashes. So once I get some rough liner on, I want a smoky liner today. So I'm going to go over the liquid with a matte black shadow with a flat brush. So I'm just using any black shadow you have, and we're going to sweep it over as quick as possible in order to not let it dry too much. and really mattify it. I went into my inner corner of the eye to really accentuate my slanted eye, my almond shape. And then I'm just gonna go back over with that deepest color. And by this time, our lashes are ready, so I'll go ahead and pop those on off camera. Okay, so now that we have our lashes on, they're going to continue to dry, and the glue will dry clear, so just ignore any white. If ever you are in a hurry though and you don't want that white to show, just use your same liquid eyeliner, the black, to go over it, and it covers it right up. I usually put them on quite early so I know the glue will dry by the time I'm leaving, but there are times when I need that liner and it works just fine. I will also be doing the bottom of my eye, but I do that after my whole face is done. So I will be back in a sec and show you what we're going to do for the bottom of this light smoky eye. Back. Okay, so I went ahead and finished my face and my lips. Let's finish up these eyes. So I am going to add a little sheen. This is the highlighter I'm using. I don't think it's for sale anymore. It's from MAC. I believe it was a holiday or a special collection. It's called Shape the Future, apparently. I love this tone here. It's like a champagne. So I'm using a little brush and going right up under the brow for an extra little sheen. And then, because that did create somewhat of a harsh line, just go back over with the blending brush with the clear on it. You can go over and make sure there's no harsh lines left behind. As you can see, I'm baking under my eyes right now so I can prevent creasing while I'm out. And then under the eye, I like to go ahead and finish under the eye while I'm baking, so less of a mess to clean up. If you have any fallout, and you're careful when you sweep off the baking powder, the fallout will go without staining your work that you did on your foundation. So I'm gonna go under the under my lash line very tightly. I don't want it to be too fanned out, but I'm gonna take one of the deeper colors I use on my lid to go under with a tipped brush. Nothing too heavy this time. You can like use this a lot with something like big and dramatic, but again, I wanted a light smoky eye, so I'm just doing this for that extra effect that I like. But I'm also gonna put black on the waterline as well. And not only am I going to do a slight line, but I'm going to make little lines downward or dots downward to have the effect of more bottom lashes. Now, my eyes are used to, you know, product being this close because I've been doing it for so long, but yours may not be. So don't, they all water the same, so don't freak out or don't hurt yourself. Like, be careful. So now I am making the little lines. They're very, very light. You're trying to resemble hair, so you can't go too harsh because nobody's lashes is that dense down there. Now that I have that, I'll go ahead and put on the mascara, but I do think I've set enough under my eye, so I'll wipe that off before I do the mascara because the mascara is wet and I would have to wait for it to dry to wipe off the powder if I did the mascara first. Then we can put on our mascara. right, so that's it for the eye look. I haven't, you know, finished my face with my setting spray and highlighter just yet, but for the eye look, that is pretty much it. What do you guys think? It is just a simple smoky eye, and I wanted to focus on the blending. Hopefully you guys got some good tips. It can go so much deeper than this, it really can, but I want to just, you know, start off slow, and there will be tons of videos where we can go into depth. So thank you for watching, and I will put a pic up of the final look and some close-up shots of the eye makeup as well. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, go ahead and subscribe and comment below if you want to see anything specifically up next. Thanks. Bye.